scientists, Albert Einstein and Nicola Tesla.
Nicola Tesla, back in the 30s, became involved with a group that was experimenting with the ability to move through the time-space continuum.
The experiment started back in Princeton University in about 1939, 38. And as they got the thing developed to where they could make something small invisible, then they got it to an object maybe that big. And that gathered the attention of the government.
The military, because we are at war, wanted to pursue it in their direction, of course. So Tesla had finally come to the same conclusion that Einstein did, which was that this technology, if developed, would not be used for the benefit of mankind.
As the story is told, the war raged on and the military needed answers fast. So a full-scale ship was outfitted electronically and a test was scheduled.
In 1943, we conducted a dry run. We had the use of domestic animals, dogs, cats, and we placed them in different metalled cages along through the ship, the USS Eldridge.
They threw the switches. At that point, electric fields and magnetic fields were generated on a wholesale basis to get astronomical amounts of energy.
Reportedly, after the power was shut down, sailors boarded the USS Eldridge to find the experiment had run into trouble.
There was a lot of problems with the animals, radiation burns, and many of them were missing.
Despite the setbacks, it's claimed the Navy's response to the first trial run was full speed ahead. So on August the 12th, 1943, the USS Eldridge, with a full crew aboard, reportedly underwent the Philadelphia experiment. On the ship, the day may have begun as any other, with the crew attending to routine duties. But the countdown had started. The Eldridge was about to become a legend.
They fired this thing up, they got the generators going. When they threw the switches, that's when all the bizarre stuff started to happen.
So we turned it on, and of course, the ship became radar invisible within a short period of time. And to those who were observers on the carrier, as well as a commercial ship known as the SS Friaseth, a merchant ship, it appeared like the tests were going according to plan. But something went wrong at the last minute, and all of a sudden there was a flash of light. The ship disappeared completely and was gone from the harbor for about 4 hours.
Instead of merely becoming invisible to radar or even the naked eye, legend has it the Eldridge was actually transported through space and time.
We shot it through the time-space continuum. We arced it through.
It literally took off. I don't mean flying. I meant it just plain disappeared into hyperspace. It was there approximately 4 hours and then returned to the place where it had been originally.
Allegedly, a boarding party was dispatched to the Eldridge because something appeared terribly wrong.
There was a greenish sort of haze on deck, not very heavy, sort of like clouds in a way. The personnel were milling around. They were very sick and ill and quite insane.
And some of them had heart attacks. These were young men, but it was that bad.
Some of them were on fire. Some of them looked dead. Some of them were actually part of the superstructure of the ship, literally stuck in the wall.
There were people buried in the deck, in the bulkhead. Their bodies were enmeshed with the steel of the deck. And some just literally walked into nothing, according to some of the reports. And they never were seen again.
The questions linger. Where did the USS Eldridge go when it apparently vanished for 4 hours? Some theories placed it in Norfolk Harbor, 275 miles away, while even more incredible claims suggest that it voyaged 40 years into the future. And what about the missing sailors? One account points to a mysterious incident at a local bar.
A group of sailors, according to the story, boiled out of a back room of the bar. A little research showed the fact that this bar had no back room. They came out of the wall. There was some connection between the Philadelphia experiment, what happened in that bar.
Officially, the Navy denied everything.
They denied that there ever was such an experiment because of the complications involving what happened to these personnel. They couldn't explain it properly. Those died, they said, were lost at sea.
Some believe there's an even more compelling reason that the Philadelphia experiment was kept under wraps. The project was a success. They supposedly built a time machine.
They do not want the public to know they've had access to time travel for over 40 years.
They have the technology today to move back and forth through the time continuum, both past and future. Yes, we can time travel today.
Some contend that time machines are being clandestinely used to forecast our future.
They're taking no chances. The government has been able to view in the future what is going to come down. Now, whether it comes down exactly the way they've seen it, or with some variation, they know there's going to be serious trouble.
Teleportation, some modern work in that field gives some perspective. It happens at Caltech in Pasadena, on a table floating on a cushion of air. By shooting laser beams through a maze of mirrors, scientists produce an effect called quantum teleportation. It's the realization in miniature of something right out of Star Trek.
This is something that is so fantastic at this point in time, scientifically, that it almost is in the realm of science fiction.
However, scientists have succeeded only in teleporting subatomic particles called photons. What they don't foresee is how they'll ever be able to teleport any kind of solid object, let alone a 1,200-ton warship.
If I take an arbitrary state of 300 particles, quantum particles, just to write down what is that state requires more bits of information than there are particles in the universe. The notion that one could teleport a material system of any sensible size is just, beyond technical capabilities for any foreseeable future.
There is one small but intriguing link between teleportation and the story of the Philadelphia experiment. Albert Einstein is said to have masterminded the experiment, and quantum teleportation makes use of a principle that Einstein called spooky action at a distance, which is a mysterious interrelationship between distant objects.
In fact, it was Einstein who first pointed out this kind of resource in a 1935 paper, in a completely different context, not for use for teleportation. He actually brought it up as a counterexample to the theory of quantum mechanics.
Even if he didn't intend it, Einstein's theory became one of the inspirations for quantum teleportation. The provable facts behind the Philadelphia experiment are few, and there remain a few unanswered questions. Why would the Office of Naval Research be interested in a UFO book that contains the story of a disappearing Navy ship? And why would the author of that book commit suicide at the moment he was going to reveal all he knew?
In March 1999, 15 men who once served on the USS Eldridge got together for the first time in more than 50 years. The veterans, now in their 70s and 80s, said they never saw any sign of experimentation and reaffirmed that the ship was never even in Philadelphia. They laughed about the so-called Philadelphia experiment and marveled at how such a far-fetched story took on a life of its own and still refuses to die.
They will levitate. Unbelievable. I've seen electricity go right into the objects and a million pieces just fly apart.
basically go up, hover, and then fall back down.
It wasn't just metal. It clearly wasn't just some big magnet or something like that.